I've been feeling really sad lately. Don't cut off my dick! No! Kick you in your dick.
Why are you trying to make me as angry as possible?
I'm gonna kick you in your big dick.
Hello and welcome to the CGP podcast, where two trash people, I, Emily Pineapple, and
me, Forrest, the keeper of the Canon,
talk about the comedian and or comedy producer, apparently, who is going to be running the Chris Gethard show this week.
You mean Chris Gethard Presents?
The Chris Gethard Presents this week. The Chris Gethard Presents show.
The show presenting Chris Gethard presents Keith Haskel.
Yeah, so it's Keith Haskel, aka Bananaman. It's going to be the second episode airing July 3rd, 2019, and it's entirely pre-recorded. This one's pretty special. It consists of never before seen videos. Ooh, so all the videos we talk about won't just end up being this show.
Which is good. I'm glad it'll be new content. I know that Keith said he was nervous following up Carmen from last week because Carmen so killed it on the CGP podcast.
Yeah, this CGP podcast this week was also really fun.
And Big Man 6 had to get everyone ice cream, which is a pretty hilarious bit.
Yeah, pretty good. So, Keith Haskel, Bananaman, we're going to talk about some highlights from his career as we are able to find them on the internet. Again, we are not Random Gene. We are not stalker level of, not that she's a stalker, but we don't have the magical abilities that she has to discover information about people.
And we're also not New Yorkers, so we can really only find things they've done on the internet.
Yes, but we're pretty lucky this week because Keith Haskel is mostly a video producer and filmmaker, so he has a pretty built-out website full of stuff that he's done that he's proud of and wants people to know about. So we're gonna pull from that primarily. I'm gonna start off by sharing the bio as it appears on his website. It's Keith Haskel, Bananaman. He's a showrunner with a background in editing, directing, shooting, and writing. Comedy, Man on the Street, and social experiment productions are his jam. Also pet shows. Love him some pet shows. And frequently, he wears a banana suit simply because it makes everything way more fun. He is currently the in-house producer at Running Man Post. Previous gigs include serving as the showrunner, director, writer of the 1990s Truly Scandalous by Investigation Discovery / Lion TV, the co-executive producer of the Chris Gethard Show on True TV / Funny or Die, executive producer, showrunner of Blissful Thinking for Seriously.tv / Go90, the producer, editor, shooter on Improv Everywhere videos, producer of Comedy Knockout for True TV, field producer of Triumph the Insult Comic Dog 2016 election specials, which was on Funny or Die / Hulu. Forrest, the first one I saw of those was my mom showing me Triumph the Insult Dog insulting people waiting in line for Star Wars and shaming me for being a nerd.
I mean, it's a great video. I love
funny.
I love all of Triumph's stuff from back when he was working with Conan O'Brien. But the what does that button do? Call your mom with the guy dressed as Darth Vader. It's just it's so good.
This one was pretty good too. I did watch it, and yeah, even though 2016 was 2016, it was a pretty good special.
And of course, as we mentioned, not only was Keith the co-executive producer of the Chris Gethard Show, he was also the one and only Bananaman. And I can't wait to see when he fully crops up as a member of the crew in our public access watch through, because that hasn't quite happened yet. He's still an audience member, mostly, where we are right now.
Yeah. His frequent collaborators include Rob Malone, the world's greatest dancer. They worked together on the epic Cot Cutters trilogy, TCGS, and the Spirit of films, and much, much more.
His dad is one of his other main collaborators, especially early on, including in videos such as Cattail and Coming Out to My Dad repeatedly. And for someone who, as far as we know, just really isn't an actor, Keith's dad is pretty funny. He's got a pretty good persona in all those videos. It's pretty consistent. I think very strong. I think he was a great co-star for Keith back in the day.
And of course, the Chris Gethard Show crew, huge swaths of his output include like at least one, if not many more crew members of the Chris Gethard Show. And a lot of it comes out under the banner of the Chris Gethard Show.
Yeah, we singled out Rob because he works with Rob outside of anything under the Chris Gethard Show banner, but also under it.
Yeah. So speaking of his Chris Gethard Show time, beginning in 2011 and going to 2015 for the public access portion, Chris Gethard in Lose Well, he actually wrote about Bananaman coming on the show, and he didn't explicitly say like, yo, Bananaman is the guy I'm talking about. He was like, oh, this like really good producer that was a real video editor just like started showing up to the show. And then he wanted to make stuff for the show. And I was like, wow, this talented person wants to make stuff for me. And also he wore a banana costume. And I'm like, what? It's Bananaman.
I do love that. I love the reveal that it's Bananaman because he's so talented and like such a great creative vision.
Yeah. And you wouldn't necessarily know that unless you did this kind of deep dive, which made me really happy. Like I knew that there was a lot to him because of Lose Well, and it was fun to go into his stuff. So he directed 3 episodes of the public access. Do you know which episodes those are, Forest Keeper of the Canon?
So that came from IMDb, and I'm wondering I'm pretty sure those 3 episodes are the Spirit of Gethard episodes, which are just being included as episodes of the Chris Gethard Show under IMDb's categorization.
If anyone knows better, tell us. Many of his works, including all of the Cock Cutters trilogy, they were just parts of the Chris Gethard Show. He was in tons of web videos as Bananaman, and yeah, did the Spirit of Gethards, which were pretty fun. Tell us about the first one, Forrest.
So the first one happened after they canceled the December 28th taping of TCGS, and then Rob Malone and Keith approached the TCGS team to see if they could produce an hour-long holiday special to broadcast instead of just a rerun. And not only is he in it, he directed, produced, and shot it and edited it alongside Rob Malone. And I love all the Spirit of Gethards. I came on after this one, but I think the Spirit of Gethard is just, they're all really funny, and I think that they really illustrate Keith's style with the like documentary but also incredibly absurd.
He does a lot of fun, absurdist editing things. He has really good comedic timing with editing tricks. Like, I edited comedy my whole editing career, which was very, very short and small. And yeah, that's like really clever. Like, it's not just like, oh, I wrote a funny script and this happened. Like, he's seeing jokes in his head.
And he's also just really good at doing sort of the like cheesy meta, calling attention to some of the cheesier editing tricks he's using for comedic effect.
Yeah.
That like meta comedy that I always love when I see it in YouTube videos.
Yeah. The Spirit of Gethard 2 is the Hint Master Hologram Holiday Special from 2012. And again, this was to prevent a holiday hiatus. Yeah, and Rob Malone and Keith Haskel insist on making Chris Gethard leave the studio for a road trip adventure. What was this one like? I didn't see this one, and if I have, I forgot.
I also actually haven't seen that one yet.
Gasp, super fan fail.
Yes, I did fail. But I won't fail in describing The Spirit of Gethard 3 Christmas Juice, because I have seen this one. Because this was the Spirit of Gethard this was the first Spirit of Gethard to come out while I was watching the show. And so in this one, Rob Malone and Keith Haskel talked to the Ticks, Griffin Newman, and David Sims, I think then of the AV Club, about feeding Christmas juice to Chris Gethard and reflecting on everything that went down on the Chris Gethard show in 2013. It is, I don't want to spoil any of it because it's pretty crazy, but there's like meta things where with Griffin and David, who I think by that point may have already been doing Blank Check with Griffin and David / like Return of the Podcast, or sorry, Revenge of the Podcast, Attack of the Podcast, and the Phantom Podcast.
These are all
No, they were doing their
podcasts?
TCGS podcast.
Oh.
And so their like TCGS podcast factored in to the Spirit of Gethard 3. That's what it was. They use like an interview from that show in the Spirit of Gethard 3. I think it's been a long time since I've seen it. I didn't rewatch it for this. I really should have.
We watched a lot of videos. Okay, Keith makes a lot of videos, y'all. If we didn't already say that when I was talking about how we're not Random Gene, he makes so many things. He's made so many things that are all online and viewable. Like,
I was right though. I just scrubbed through it. There is a scene where Keith and Rob are on Griffin and David's show talking about it, what happened in 2013 on the Chris Gethard show. So that part was right. But he does do a lot. He is super prolific.
yeah. Especially also in 2012, Bethany Likes Fun, Whiskey with Murph. And this happened, of course, after we watched him fall in love with Bethany in 2011, right?
Oh, you mean on the dance battle episode?
Yeah, on the dance battle
no, it was
episode.
after the dance battle episode.
I don't know if they're dating, but there is a shot of someone who's holding the camera, who I assume is Keith, in the bathroom with Bethany while she pees. Though, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd have too much of a problem with that for a video if it wasn't a person I was dating. I just want to know when they started dating. I also don't really care that much. I just want to know the story, man.
That's quite a paradox right there. You need to know, but also don't care.
Okay, well, that was my favorite video that I've watched. I watched a lot of videos.
No, that was a great
this.
video. And I loved Murph throughout it as well.
Yeah, because it's basically just like Bethany goes partying with Murph. And we all know that Murph is like, I want to party with Murph. I cannot keep up with Murph, even if he's just drinking.
Yeah, like I already knew I couldn't keep up with Murph, but this video really illustrated it to me.
Damn.
That I just couldn't. I couldn't. And then in 2012, he also did Who Wants to Be on Public Access, where Bananaman hits the streets to ask people if they want to be on public access. And it's a great video. He later made another video called Internet Video that uses sort of the same joke and technique.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was interesting to see him iterate on this video later on without being Bananaman, without the TCGS elements. Because there's really not that many cases of that happening. Like for the most part, they're all unique videos.
Yeah. But it's definitely a joke that he likes. He likes putting people on the spot, especially randos, which is basically what this is. It's just like, do you want to be on public access? And people are like, sure. And then he just holds the microphone in their face.
Yeah, it really is like, it kind of epitomizes his comedy of this like weird fourth wall breaking absurdism and like playing with your expectations of the man on the street format.
Brecht, is it Brecht, the playwright?
Oh, yeah.
Who liked making people aware that they were watching a play so that they would become more comfortable questioning the structures that control our lives?
It was Brecht.
Well, yeah. So Keith is essentially Brecht.
He is essentially Brecht.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so he has Murph versus Gimghoul, which is another, and I think the last of his Chris Gethard show career besides the Chris Gethard show itself.
Yeah, it was the last of the, I think it was the last of the specials during the public access run, at the very least.
At least the last one that we're going to highlight today, because he is a prolific mofo and it's already 10:30 p.m. here. So
I saw Murph versus Gimghoul when it aired.
Oh my God, you did?
Because I was watching, it was 2013, which is when I started watching TCGS.
Oh my
and
God.
I finally firmed that up while doing this research. But yeah, I watched that live and it was an incredibly stressful experience. Because it was another of those things where it was like they had a break they had to fill.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that, this is one of the videos that like really cemented for me, like, oh, like I'm here for this. I'm here for this show.
It was me too. Cause like when I first started watching it, I was like, I'm drawn to this show. I don't know why. I don't know if I love it, but I'm just drawn to it and I can't look away. And now I, of course, love it. I'm on a podcast about it, but
as a person who has stolen booze out of the windows of fraternities that she's just walking on by. My heart grew 4 sizes, and then a little Murph grew inside of that heart and whispered terrible suggestions to me of things that I should not do.
And as a person who would never even think about stealing booze out of a window, I liked to live vicariously through Murph on his adventures bringing justice to Gimghoul.
I gave it back once when it was really nice booze.
Well, that's...
I didn't know that it was nice booze, and then I stole it, and I was like, oh, this is too nice. So I broke into the front of the frat and put it outside his door so that he would just be confused.
That is nice of you. Instead, it just looked like a ghost stole his booze and was like, I don't want this, and put it back.
Yep. That's what ghosts do.
Oh, yeah. They're very picky with their liquor.
Oh, yeah. So he was also the co-executive producer and supervising producer of the Chris Gethard Show when it went to cable, when it went to True TV.
And Fusion. Don't forget
Fusion.
Fusion.
And Fusion. He also starred in Bananaman Won't Tap Out, where he faced off against MMA fighters and Chris Gethard.
Yes.
And refused to tap out, and instead repeatedly tried to put his finger in Chris Gethard's butt.
He did tap out, though.
No, of course he tapped out.
He did tap out. He also checked the oil with Chris Gethard, but he also tapped out.
That's what that's called?
That's what they called it. Chris was like, stop checking the oil, man. And that was one of the last videos uploaded when it was like a True TV's The Chris Gethard Show. It was that and then Carmen Christopher's video that we mentioned last week.
Oh, that was so good.
And then in a video we'll talk about later, it was also uploaded on the channel, but after it was all off True TV and the show was over.
Yeah. So now we'll get into a bit of his non-TCGS work. Things that you probably didn't know Bananaman was involved with whatsoever.
The first one of those is Cattail, which is one of those videos with his dad where...
And this is in 2006.
Yes, this is
like the second video on his YouTube page. Do you know how long I had to scroll?
Yeah, it's deep buried there. But
I don't have good hands. It hurt.
Yeah,
it hurt to scroll that far.
This is vintage Haskell.
Vintage, and it's really fun.
And it's I mean, YouTube was really new in 2006. It's impressive that he got on it so early.
Yeah.
But in this video, they learn their cat is magic.
Oh, no. Well, you can, if you make a wish on the cat's tail, while the cat's tail is up in the air.
And you're pure of heart.
Well, and the wish
is pure.
Is pure and will help everyone in the world. Then it will come true. So, yeah.
And you'll have to see how Keith handles that tricky situation.
Yeah, but just from that premise, you're like, yeah, that guy. Yep.
Yeah, it does feel it feels very Keith. Like, it's also just impressive that his voice was there, like, that early.
Oh, yeah. And then in 2008, he edited 2 episodes of Human Giant, which is the show that helped launch Aziz Ansari and Rob Hubel.
Rob Hubel, who played Phone Sex Chewbacca on the True TV episodes of the Chris Gethard Show. And then TCGS coup leader Paul Scheer, who took over the show when Chris tried to prank him by making him host the show.
So what the hell is Human Giant?
I think they did little short films. Not little in like a diminutive sense, but little and they were short. Like they did short films every week, and it was on MTV, I believe.
Cool. I didn't watch that one.
I didn't watch it either. It's just it was on MTV, and there was one day where they like took over MTV for the day.
Oh, cool.
So I've just heard about it sort of after the fact. I didn't watch it when it was on, but it was a sketch show. So I want to see back episodes. It's apparently really good, but I mean the fact that it launched Paul Scheer, Aziz Ansari, and Rob Hubel is crazy. And that Keith was there on that show back then, that early on. Because, I mean, that was only 2 years after his first YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And then while on the set of The Human Giant, he filmed Paul Scheer Loves Louie, which is a little video of Paul Scheer hanging out with a chimpanzee during a photo shoot.
Cute.
It's very adorable.
Very cute. Yeah, he loves animals. That's the other through line in Bananaman's work is like Brechtian absurdism, gross out humor, and cute animals.
I mean, he puts it all out there in his bio. He says pet shows are his jam. Like, he's very upfront about that those are going to be the through lines, and they really are. There's no exaggeration there at all.
The next video is Spending Time with Poster Boy, which is a 2009 micro documentary, and it was featured on the front page of YouTube as well as Exit Through the Gift Shop, which is a long documentary about who? Banksy?
Yeah, it's about Banksy.
Yeah. So in this doc, Keith follows around a really cool street artist who what this guy did was use a like X-Acto knife or a razor blade and would cut out bits of big advertisements and then mash them up to make weird trippy ass images just using people's ads. So he would take like the lower face of one person and put it on another person and then like cut out all these eyes and put them around. It's super, super cool. The person is wearing a bandana around their face like a badass because they can't reveal their identity because their art is illegal.
Not to mention, Kanye himself blogged about it, and the video has over 1 million views.
You mean Northwest's father, Kanye West?
Yes, Saint West's father, Kanye West.
Wow.
Who lost a human fish battle on the show to Jay-Z.
True.
That's what I was thinking of, and I just thought it was funny that Kanye first like helped expose this video Keith worked on and then loses a fight to Jay-Z, who has not helped expose the work of any TCGS cast member. And I wish we'd known that before we talked about that episode, because that would add a funny joke to that whole thing.
That would be.
And then he also did a series of shorts called Beard Pals, which we're not going to get into too deeply, but it's him and Rob Malone, and you should check it out. It's funny. I also include it in the show notes.
Yeah, there's just a lot of real fun videos of him like fucking around with Rob Malone, and they're all definitely worth your time. He did some videos for Improv Everywhere. And if you don't know what Improv Everywhere is, it's improv everywhere. Yeah, so they just cause scenes of joy and chaos in public places.
They're famous for the no pants subway rides that they do in various cities around the country.
I had no idea that was them.
Yeah,
I thought that was just like people being like, fuck pants.
I mean, now I think it's partially that, but they really helped kick a lot of that off. And they were like a really early internet sort of chaotic source of joy. So I love that he's paired up with them.
Yeah. So he produced 3 episodes, did cinematography on 20 episodes, edited 4 episodes, and ran camera on 4 episodes. The one I watched was real fun. They got a whole big ass group of people, 2 big ass groups of people to all listen to the same MP3 at the same time. So like there was all of a sudden just a bunch of people in a park like dancing to music that no one else could hear and giving randos high fives and then doing lightsaber battles. It was sick as fuck, and I wish I was there.
Yeah, that was really cool. I would have loved to have been part of that. But then he also worked on Good Content, which was a series of shorts he made with Jason Epping.
Who's that?
Jason Epping?
Yeah.
He's the co-creator of Good Content.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, so he made these shorts with Rob Malone, Ryan Nethery.
Jason Epping is a curator and designer and prankster.
A person. Have I seen this person's work without knowing who they are?
Maybe. Oh my! Wait, sorry. He's 40-year-old Goosey.
Oh my god!
I didn't realize that was 40-year-old Goosey. Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Do you know 40-year-old Goosey?
I have no idea who that is.
Okay.
I know he's on the Chris Gethard show. I'm gonna see him.
He's someone who it turns out was not 40 when he was playing this character, but just came to the show dressed as a goose.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
But my favorite one of their videos of Good Content was when they had someone who was playing a character named Shelly climb into one of those newspaper machines that you see on the street where you like pull down the door and get out a newspaper. First, Keith tried to climb in it and couldn't fit, and then they got her to like climb in it, and then did a whole thing where they're like trying to find her, and then open the door and like, it's Shelly.
I love it. So is it just shorts?
Yeah.
It's so cool that he has all of these series that's just like different groups of people doing comedy shorts.
And it's fun seeing when the various groups overlap a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then like as more and more TCGS people start to like get in his orbit, like, you know, the fictional character Riley Soliner is in one of them. You know, the character played by Vacation Jason when he's portraying not himself, the world's #1 vacation expert.
And Emma Noble.
Oh, yeah, Daddy's in it, yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. He also did Old Enough to Be President, Connor Ratliff's 35-year journey to the White House in 2012.
I loved this. I watched this today. It's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't watch this. Tell me about this.
So it's a documentary about Connor's
It's
idealistic...
like 44 minutes. This is like almost feature length.
But it's about his historic run for the presidency and some of the scandals that plague his campaign throughout it, such as turning 37. Not only 36, as we knew from the episodes we've watched through our run-through, but he also turns 37, which no one could have seen coming.
It reminds me that if you're listening to this right now, you can you still give money to Connor Ratliff for his
You can still
new
buy
doc?
campaign merch. Oh, his doc funded.
Oh, so
yeah. You can
if you want to give him more money,
give
can
more
you?
money, but it did fund. It's the George Lucas Talk Show Kickstarter. I can include a link to that also in the show notes just to have it out there.
Just because we're talking about a documentary featuring Connor.
But you can also still buy campaign merch for 35 Ratliff 2012, his campaign for the presidency, which is documented in this. And he wins the presidency at the end, spoiler, with 8% of the vote.
Wow.
How he gets 8% of the vote is a whole journey in the documentary that you'll have to see. But one cool little thing is, well, first, Noah Foreman, as portrayed by Duke Ponzetti, plays his campaign manager, and then Will Hines, who's been on TCGS a few times, plays Connor's pollster. And also, there's a scene in the end where if you look in the background, you can catch a glimpse of a young Adam Conover before he went about ruining everything.
Wait, you mean Lisa Hannawalt's husband?
Yeah, the very same. Are they married?
Boyfriend? The partner of Lisa Hannawalt, designer of BoJack Horseman and Tuca and Birdie and my personal hero.
Yeah, exactly. Him. You can see him in the background. And he has the same look he has now. So you know it's him as soon as you see him. And Keith, whoever was running camera on that shot, because Keith did help shoot it, does like a rack focus away from Connor to Adam Conover.
That's too good.
Which that is why I think it was Keith, because that feels like a Keith. Because Keith loves using rack focus for comedic effect in a lot of the spirit of movies.
Oh, that's fantastic. He did.
Oh, it also has a song called "Beautiful Mistake," which is by Phil Jackson, the resident poet of the Chris Gethard Show. Yes.
Phil Jackson is also just like a legit musician. You can find his stuff online.
I mean, it's a really good song. It's not a funny song. It's just like a really good song.
Yeah. Keith did Money from Strangers, which it's pretty much like an Impractical Jokers bit from 2012 to 2013. So you know the bit, I suppose it's a bit done in a lot of prank shows where they have a group of 3 people talking to one person through an earpiece and telling that person things to do in public or in different situations. Except this is them just approaching randos on the street and being like, hey, you'll make up to $1,000 if you can complete all of these things without blowing it.
Also, just to be clear, the Impractical Jokers were already on the air at this point. We're not like they got on in 2011. It's not like this didn't precede them.
Oh no! I mean, I've seen it like on other shows.
Yeah, like
too.
Candid Camera did the same thing, and
it's just a thing.
It's the hidden camera show format.
But it was really, really funny watching random strangers. Like they sent a girl into a cafe to ask for sexy hors d'oeuvres for her sexy bachelorette party, and then talk about her pussy.
They also had her like sit on the stools and spin around and yell that the stools were haunted.
Yeah, that was too much for her. The physical spinning around was too much for her, but the like talking to people about sexual things was not. Which
that surprised me.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
it's
I didn't expect that would be the way that would go.
Very interesting.
After that, he was a segment producer on Comic Book Men, Kevin Smith's Comic Book Men.
Yes!
Which,
The Fat Man on Batman himself.
yes.
The Fat Man Beyond himself.
Independent film auteur Kevin Smith.
Of Clerks.
Of Clerks fame. The Clerks guy, as he describes himself quite often. It's funny. I hadn't actually watched that much Comic Book Men, but Keith on his website had the one where Ernie Hudson comes out. Ernie Hudson of Ghostbusters fame and Grace and Frankie fame. And it was pretty funny.
It's really cute. The segment that they had an extended segment of that guy being in an ice cream truck and them tricking kids into like ordering ice cream and then being like, we don't have any ice cream. We only have comic books.
I think that was Walt.
Sure.
I listened to he had a podcast on the Smodcast Network. May still. I used to listen to it. So,
well, it was cute and it made me think that was definitely Keith because that's like a total Keith move.
yeah, it also had like the warm heart that kind of beats underneath a lot of his stuff,
Absolutely.
which was very, very nice to see.
Yeah. Then there's Spirit of Ratliff 2015, which is much like the Spirit of Gethard things, but it was Spirit of Ratliff. I haven't seen this one. Have you seen this one, Forrest?
Yeah. And I also love this one. This is where we watched a clip from it where Connor has that like weird mask on his face with a GoPro on it and is wishing people Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
It's that. It's Connor doing like weird bits like that. And then there's this recurring thing where at one point he says like, and that's the Spirit of Ratliff. And then they have him do like take after take after take after take of it throughout the thing. He just keeps saying, and that's the Spirit of Ratliff.
Until he gets really annoyed.
Yeah, it's great. I love all the Spirit ofs, but that one is really good because I love Connor so much. So seeing Connor and Keith team up for something was like that was so good.
And that was in 2015, if I didn't mention it. The next thing is How Dogs Got Their Shapes in 2016, which he did for Investigation Discovery. Pretty sure he did that for Investigation Discovery. He did it for somebody.
I think it's Nat Geo.
Legit. Nat Geo. Fuck yes, Nat Geo. It's so cute. Oh my God. There's parts of it online. I watched this. I watched the thing about Chihuahuas and why they have such intense ears and voices.
It was Nat Geo Wild.
It's because they're tiny and they only exist because we are good to them. So they need to both hear threats, and then the best way to deal with a threat is to tell your human that there's a threat so that your human can protect you.
I feel like this really got to the core of why you are uncomfortable with dogs.
And not all dogs are
with
like
owning
that.
a dog. But like,
look, I love dogs. I love dogs so much. I just personally don't want to be needed so bad by something that won't eventually grow to learn how to take care of itself.
no, exactly. But like Chihuahuas are especially like needy of people
Oh,
for
yeah.
dogs. Like
Oh,
there
yeah.
are other dogs that are essentially basically
mean-
self-sufficient.
I grew up with a tiny dog like that, and he was a sweetheart. He wasn't. He was really mean. But he was a cute dog. But still.
Speaking of dogs, after that he did Scatadogicals 2, Rosie.
And he also did, he did a couple of Scatadogicals. I watched this. Did you watch this, Forrest? Did I make you watch this?
You didn't, but
Oh, I loved
seeing
it.
the description here, I think I've totally seen it. I think it's really good. I forgot that that's what it was called.
It's so good. It's Keith's stated goal as a filmmaker to film a dog pooping and then reverse that footage so that the poop stands up and then goes back into the dog's butt. And you're like, wow, that's really gross. I don't want to watch that. But you do want to watch that. It is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. It's beautiful. The dog is super adorable. Rosie is hella cute. And it's extremely, extremely, extremely funny.
I mean, I think it's wonderful. Sorry, I pulled it up and got distracted watching this Scatadogicals. So, dogical. I keep saying dogical. It's definitely Scatadogicals. But he also, in what year was that? Was Scatadog? That would be
That was 2016.
That was 2016? Okay, because also in 2016, Keith and Bethany had the unauthorized run-and-gun NYC wedding, which took place on the Staten Island Ferry and the New York subway.
Thanks. they got married on the ferry and then went into the subway, and it's really cute.
And it was shot by Pavel Ezrohi, Rob Malone, the world's greatest dancer, and Chad Harbald. And if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, you might even catch a glimpse of Shannon O'Neill at their wedding. The entire time I was like, wait, are any members of the TCGS cast there? No, was Chris? Where's Chris? Where's Chris? Where's everybody? Where's Murph?
Oh my God.
It's adorable though. It's a very adorable video, and you definitely have to check it out.
It's very cute. I was like, oh great, we're like reaching the end. And then I was like scrolling and I'm like, damn, that is only 2016. He's done so many things, y'all.
He's so prolific.
Okay, so Blissful Thinking, which is viral video superstar Rob Bliss conducts bold social experiments all over New York City to shine a light on society's most messed up issues: sex, prejudice, sexism, modern love, mental health, and inequality. There's man on the street interviews, public installations, all sorts of fun stuff. He appeared in it. Keith appeared in it and was an executive producer. Was this just for YouTube, or was this for some larger industry? Forrest,
I saw it on YouTube. We watched the mental health one.
Yeah, it was
very
really good. People sat around on benches with big signs that said their mental illness and then ask me anything. So like, I'm bipolar, ask me anything.
Oh, this was a Go 90 show.
Oh, cool.
Which was the like Verizon video thing that was specifically made for phones.
Well, if you had a phone, you could watch someone sit with a thing that
Go
says
90 doesn't exist anymore. So
you could have watched this.
It's
Now
on YouTube.
Just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's really very sweet. We watched the mental illness one, and it was adorable. A lot of people like sitting down and just being like, wow, like I have that too. Or like, oh, I've heard of that. What is this? And it's very sweet. Lots of hugs.
It seemed like a really good way to like reduce the stigma.
Oh my God.
Oh, well, that was our cat. I hope.
What the fuck, Gatsby?
I don't think anything.
He just tried to leap onto the standing
No, we're not recording
desk.
anymore.
We're recording.
Are we?
We are recording right now.
I can't hear anything, so I think my headphones got pulled out by our cat trying to jump on the mixer.
He jumped literally onto the standing desk where the mixer is, slid off, and then like pulled on all of the wires coming down from the mixer. It is now 10:46 p.m. and we're still recording this podcast because we love the Chris Gethard Show.
He broke my headphone adapter.
Oh my God, he broke it?
My headphones are fine, but the adapter got all bent.
Our adapter got all bent up. Wow.
Well, this has to go in the episode.
I mean, it's 10:47. I'm not cutting this shit.
Yeah, no, this has to be in there. This is crazy.
So, Comedy Knockout, talking about knockouts. Comedy Knockout was a true TV show where comedians did like hated on each other, right?
Yeah, the ones everything I saw in terms of clips was like roasting each other. It was funny. It was good.
Roasting is the word, not hating on.
When you're all professional comedians, it's roasting.
Yes. And yeah, he was the producer. It's real funny. It's a cool way to watch comedians. I like roast battles.
Yeah, no, I do
think
too.
They're great. There was the roasting that happened in the first CGP podcast.
Oh, that was funny.
What was her name? We're looking up her name real quick.
It was
because she was freaking amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, she was really funny. All her reads were great.
And while Forrest looks that up, I'm going to talk about the 1990s Totally Scandalous, which was... we didn't put in our notes who he did this for. We just did that it happened.
That one?
It's a show that takes on...
It was Annie Donnelly.
Okay, so Annie Donnelly is great at roasts, one.
Yes.
And then the 1990s Totally Scandalous. Oh, that was for Investigation Discovery.
Yeah, that was the ID show.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool.
Which makes sense because it's 90s celebrities talking about 90s true crime.
Yeah, like the
Lorena Bobbitt.
yeah. Lorena Bobbitt and Anna Nicole Smith, who my mom really liked.
Yeah, the lady
she was really sad when she died.
the lady who gave me a ride from school, like really liked Anna Nicole Smith. Like she was like one of my classmates' moms who picked me up and gave me a ride home, and was like every time we got a ride home, she was talking about how Anna Nicole Smith was so cool.
She was on the Howard Stern show a lot. She was I don't know, she seemed really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I literally don't remember any of the things I heard in those discussions, so
Bitch knew what was up. But yeah, he directed, wrote, and produced this series. So this is basically Keith doing stuff for ID, which is really interesting, seeing like him filtered through a big media company that very clearly had like, and this is what this looks like.
but you do still see like a little, you can tell,
Oh, yeah.
if once you know it was Keith, you can see it in it.
Oh yeah. Which was really interesting.
He also in 2018 did The Spirit of Gethard 4, which was broken out because it was after the finale of TCGS. It was after it was all over. It's the latest video, potentially last video, on the Chris Gethard Show YouTube channel. And Keith was in it, directed, produced, edited, and shot it alongside Rob Malone, and they followed Chris Gethard in his quest to get a Christmas tree for Keith's kid. But
it was adorable.
It was adorable. It also made history because this was the first mention that Gethard would be returning to public access in what would eventually become CGP. He didn't say it was going to be CGP or anything, but someone said, I think Keith says something like, you should go back to public access. And he's like, well, maybe discussions have been had.
Yeah, that was really exciting.
Because I remember immediately opening the chat and just being like, Judge Robin, he might go back to public access.
Yeah, that was an exciting moment. And then also in 2018 to 2019, I suppose now, he was a digital intermediate producer on Broad City. What does a digital intermediate producer do, Forrest?
I'm glad you asked me what a digital intermediate producer does, because, it's very much an interesting, not at all vamping thing. Yeah. So they're in charge of the final leg of filmmaking, post-production.
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
it sounds like it's a post-producer, but just like...
Yeah. And that's what Running Man Pictures does, the thing that Running Man Post does. It's a post house.
Okay, yeah, it's specifically like manipulating the color and image and stuff. So yeah, it sounds like post-production, but specifically the visuals.
Yeah, and Running Man Post specializes in comedy stuff. So it's right up his alley. And that's all of the things that he has done that we're going to talk about. Oh my God, Forrest, we made it.
He's so prolific that this little short recap ended up basically being the length of an episode of the Chris Gethard Show.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
This mini-sode is as long as one of our normal episodes.
I feel like I'm crossing like a crazy finish line here.
We did it. We made it.
We made it.
But
and now I just want to watch more of his shorts, though.
Well, I have good news for you.
Yeah?
On Twitter, he said that he and Rob Malone have been pitching a show called Rob and Keith Shoot Stuff, which looks to basically be in the vein of the Spirit of videos, where they follow around a celebrity and annoy them all day.
Oh, hey, you know what we didn't talk about?
What did we talk about?
How did it go away? Cock cutters.
Because it was grouped together with all the TCGS stuff. We didn't talk about the epic Cock Cutters trilogy. You're right. I'm glad you brought that up. I would hate to... We can't leave Cock Cutters out.
Yeah, there are 3 videos.
We accidentally deleted Cock Cutters.
About cock cutters, about the cutting off of cocks. And it, much like the Human Centipede series, each one opens with an understanding that the previous one has happened.
Yeah.
And the people in it being inspired by their past actions to take things even further.
Yeah, so the first video is what it says on the tin. Rob Malone cuts off Keith's cock.
And then in the second one, there's more cock cutting.
And then in the third one, it gets...
graphic.
It gets... well, the second one's also very graphic. But yeah, it gets more graphic as it goes. And in the third one, they introduce Connor O'Malley to this whole universe. So it goes in very Connor O'Malley directions.
Oh, and it's beautiful.
It's great. It's wonderful. That was the first cut cutters I had seen. And I was just watching the Chris Gethard show, being like, oh, what a fun little talk show. And then that starts, and I'm just like, what is this? I loved it, but it's so weird.
Yep.
It's wonderful.
Yep. And yeah. What do you think this is going to be like? What do you think his take on CGP2 is going to be like?
I think that he'll do definitely some man on the street stuff because that's been so consistent throughout all of his other videos. And on Instagram, he uploaded, or CGP uploaded a little teaser of him and Connor Ratliff on the subway platform in New York, and Keith is like taking off his shirt. So I think it's definitely going to be a little bit of that improv everywhere. Like we're just going to, that's not so much improv everywhere, but his style of, I'm just going to do crazy stuff and see how people react to what I'm doing. I wouldn't think I think it's going to mostly be man on the street stuff. Maybe a spirit of, maybe it'll sort of also include something of Rob and Keith shoot stuff. Maybe Connor's the celebrity this time. I don't know.
I think it's going to be Dix.
I mean, Dix will come into it.
I think it's going to be entirely penises. I think that there's going to be 100% full frontal nudity. I think that it's 100% just dicks, just penises.
Didn't you predict that for Carmen also?
A broken clock is right twice a day, and I'm just waiting for that time to roll around.
I mean, I guess that's true. If you keep predicting it, eventually it'll probably happen.
Dicks.
I am curious to see if he'll play Bananaman in any of this, or if he'll just be Keith Haskel the whole time.
Dicks.
I'm guessing he'll be Keith Haskel because Bananaman is like so firmly a TCGS character, and Gethard's trying so hard to make this a new era. See him not having glasses anymore.
Dicks. Oh yeah, that was super startling.
I was a little bit surprised. I was taken aback. It was shocking.
Yeah. Like, he can't even see his own show. Like,
yeah,
come on, dude.
He probably has contacts.
Dicks. All right, so that's our episode.
Oh, I thought you were just going to end it with dicks.
No, I'm definitely going to tell them. I'm going to bring it back around, Forrest.
Okay.
It has been a freaking journey. A cat destroyed shit, and we vamped our way through it.
I'm glad you could join us.
I need to bring it back in so the listeners know what the fuck they've been listening to.
Okay.
Watch Chris Gethard Presents this Wednesday, July 3rd, 2019. Keith Haskel, aka Bananaman, is out there. You can see his videos online at KSKill.
Well, now he's just Keith Haskel. KeithHaskel.com. He doesn't use the kskill.com anymore.
But Kskill is like what his YouTube
yeah.
name is. So look at that. It's
a
really cute website. Definitely check it out.
We didn't talk about it during the show, but we're also going to include a link to his latest reel that's on his website in the show notes, because it's a really fun reel that opens with the funniest, best part of the Chris Gethard show.
Yeah. Vacation Jason counts us in. And everyone should hire him who has the power to hire a producer.
Yeah, no, definitely hire Keith.
Yeah. So thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for going on this journey with us. And be sure to check out the Chris Gethard Presents episode this Wednesday.
Yes.
You could admit it's weird, right?
Oh, it's weird, but that's what makes it special. We all did things that were normal life wouldn't be interesting.